Brad Cabana, how's your campaign going?
Oh, it's going low-key at the moment there, Bill.
Yeah, well, you're sure the election's not even called.
No, it's not called yet, and we're still waiting for the nomination and to be called out here. I understand it might be called any day now. So.
Right.
Yeah, but I called to talk to you about Muskrat Falls tonight.
Okay, go ahead.
And sort of along the same vein as Craig Westcott, actually. I listened this afternoon when Minister Marshall called in about Muskrat Falls.
Yeah.
And basically he was suggesting that the people that are against the Muskrat Falls, either, they have no vision and they're naysayers.
At least they're not being called traitors.
Well, I guess that's a step up.
Yeah.
And
we're making progress, Brad.
Yeah, we're making progress. But, and the Premier a couple of weeks ago put out a tweet that made the national press that she called those of us against it naysayers.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that we have to be able to have a discussion about the merits or the non-merits of this project without minimalizing and marginalizing people, and we have to have an intelligent discussion on the facts,
right?
And when the federal and the provincial joint committee studying this deal comes out and says this deal is not really financially viable, it is not demonstrated to be necessary, and its environmental impacts could prove devastating to the area, the government turned around and instead of accepting and saying we're going to study these particular concerns further, they turned around and they denigrated the people, or I shouldn't say the people, but the committee in general, for their study, for the results of their study.
Brad, I found that a little bit bizarre myself, that the government was able to brush that aside with the back of their hand. Many governments wouldn't be able to survive that. What I can't get my head around is how this government continues to ride so high when it comes to just about everything, including Muskrat Falls, in the opinion of the majority of the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, in spite of criticism from their former premier, who seems to be ousted from all communications and so on. So what does that say about the electorate? Is the electorate not quite probing enough, or what's going on there?
Well, I think there might be a bit of history of trusting our governments too much, and maybe we should have learned from the Upper Churchill. The minister said this afternoon that if we didn't do the Bayesbor project, that we would have been second guessing ourselves today. But if we would have been naysayers with the Upper Churchill project, we would have saved generations of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians from having to leave this province to work out west.
Yeah.
So I mean that goes both ways. But to speak about the popularity of the government in this deal, I firmly believe that the majority of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are turning against this particular deal, and I would love to see a referendum question in the upcoming election solely on this deal and leave that decision to the people.
That'll be very interesting. Also, by way of an alternative, if CRA, which keeps putting out these polls, ask a question to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador about Muskrat Falls, I would be interested in hearing the response, whether the people are for or against it.
I would too, Bill. I mean, it would be. I think that the people that got a vote on the New Dawn agreement, they got at least a vote. There was less than 2,000 of them that voted, but I mean, they got a vote. 50% of them had to turn up, and it had to be a 60% plus margin, one way or the other. And I think that the rest of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are entitled to that same respect from our government, and it is an issue of respect, an issue of saying if we're going to go into this much debt and this much cost, then the people deserve to give us the yay or the nay. And I don't think they could be anything but respected if they did that. Right.
Brad, on a more personal note regarding your own candidacy, as you go door to door, and I assume you are doing some door to door campaigning as we speak, how do you find people's reception of you? Is there any anything that you have to overcome from your recent political history in the province, or are people accepting of you?
I'd say it brushes both ways. I've been tarred and feathered by this current government, without question, and very publicly. And so I have that to overcome in some ways.
Yeah.
I also find people, surprisingly, a lot of people take it for what it is as well, and they talk to me, and we talk to the issues, and I meet people every single day out there. Of course, it's fairly recognized, so people will actually approach me in public and we'll talk. And I'm hoping that people see this for what it is. Just like Mr. Westcott said, it's if you oppose the government, you're going to have your character assassinated. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, that stops a lot of people from really putting themselves out there because they don't want to go through that abuse. And frankly, I don't blame them.
Well, Mr. Westcott, one point that he made is that there are very few statesmen or stateswomen in the House of Assembly there, from his observations. Maybe that will change in this election. But listen, we've run out of time. Thank you very much, and talk to you, no doubt, next week.
I appreciate the opportunity, Bill.
All the best.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Brad Cabana, running for a nomination in Trinity North.